All right, I want to talk a little bit about care of the nails, especially the right hand, the plucking hand, the right hand for those of us who are right-handers. Um, and one of the main things I'm going to use is a little advert for something in my wife's shop. Amble pincushion, 20 to 22 Queen Street, Amble. And as you probably know, she does haberdashery, wool, fabric, repairs and alterations, all sorts like that. Lots of face masks at the moment, a huge order in for Newcastle Centre for Life. Anyway, amongst the things she sells are these. They're actually wet or dry sanding sticks. And there's 3 grades. Now they're actually made for crafters, but I find them absolutely brilliant for looking after my right hand fingernails. There's the coarse one, which is a 240 grade for shaping the nail, a medium one, 600 grade for smoothing the nail, and finally a fine 2000 grade for polishing the nail. I'll show you how I use those in a little while. Now, people use all sorts of things to help their nails. The nails, they break, they wear out, and so on. And people would eat jelly cubes, like that you make the bowl of jelly with, for the gelatin. If you're a vegetarian, or if you're like me, you don't eat meat, you might have a problem with gelatin. But if you're not short of what that gives you, then you don't need it. It won't make any difference. People have false nails. You get nail wraps where you get little strips of silk or fiberglass, you can get both, and adhesive and activator and hardener, and you can build up your nails and reinforce them that way. Some people, I do believe Martin Taylor uses things like that, or he did at one point. Clive Carroll uses the ping pong ball method, as did John Renbourn. These are steel string players. So they cut up little bits of ping pong ball to make a false edge for their nail, and they'll glue it on underneath and then finish it to shape and then polish it. Clive Carroll's got an excellent video on his YouTube channel if you want to check that out. And there's loads of great stuff to see on there apart from that. So you can go to the nail salon and get them to put false nails, acrylic nails on for you. And I know people who do that too. I've tried all sorts of things. I've not done the nail salon one yet. I might try it sometime. But I prefer the sound of my natural nail. And the great players of the 20th century, Segovia, John Williams, Julian Bream, David Russell, all play with just their own natural nails. Some of us, our nails aren't good enough and we've got to do something about it. And we have better solutions now than they had in 50 years ago. So I find that looking after the nails, apart from filing them, which I'll get to, if you don't keep them well filed, they get a little bit too long. You reach out for something, the nail's just a little bit longer than you used to, and you touch it and the nail cracks and bang, it's gone. So if you let them get too long, they'll have longer than you're used to them having, you might crack them. If they've got jagged edges, apart from giving you a scratchy tone, the string sort of digs into that and wears it away, and you might get a split. So filing your nails very regularly helps the nails, encourages them to grow, I believe, but it keeps them an edge on them that's more durable, and that works very well. I use a hand cream. So here we have this it helps. Instead of, I used to be able to get this stuff called Tough Nail. You get a little tub of stuff, costs you about, I don't know, way back, costs you about £5 for a tiny little tub. And the idea is if you rub this into your nails, it encourages them to grow strongly. It had, I don't know what secret ingredients they had in it. And I tried that and it seemed to help. But then I discovered if I used an ordinary fairly decent hand cream from a high street pharmacist, chemist. It was just as good. At the moment, I'm quite fond of this Vaseline. It's intensive care, healthy hands and stronger nails. And they claims 10 times stronger nails in 2 weeks. Well, I will get a tiny, just, you know, I was going to say a pea size, but even just a lentil size dab on my hand like that, and I'll just put a little bit in each finger. There we are, like that, and the thumb. You don't need to do your little finger, and I'll massage that into the nail. So a few seconds, and the idea is do this each evening. Other hand creams might work just as well as that. That's just the one I like at the moment. I think the massaging, I believe, stimulates the blood circulation, which helps the nails to grow. And I just rub any surplus all over my hands. So I'm using very little hand cream and just enough to give a little bit of lubrication and smoothness. Now, I will say something else about lubrication. When you're playing, you sometimes get a squeakiness. I've got polished strings on my guitar at the moment, but if you're using just like regular Pro Artis, you can get a bit of squeak on the string. You'll see people's concert artists sometimes just brushing their fingers through the temple, and it just gives a tiny bit of lubrication. It's enough that so the fingers move more smoothly. And for the right hand, you'll see, you just do that. If your right hand's sort of catching a little bit, and you get a tiny bit of your own natural body oils under the fingertips, and it's amazing how much that helps. All right, so your nails need to be shaped and they need to be kept in shape. And this is how I would go about doing that. I start off with the 240 grade. That's the coarse grade of those sticks I showed in my wife's shop. By the way, the 480 a pack, which is quite reasonable. They last me a couple of months. And the emery boards and so on you get for Boots or Safe or Superdrug or whatever, they're not quite as easily adapted. So I'm using these to shape my nail. I think of how my hand works on the guitar. When I'm playing, if you see I'm doing an arpeggio here, my thumb goes to the outside of my finger there. To get the profile of the hand, the standard way of doing it is to put your 3 fingers, index, middle and ring, along the 3rd string like that, and to put the thumb over to the 2nd string so it's crossing past the fingers. And when I look down from here, I can see an X. The thumb goes that way, the finger goes that way. So when I'm playing, the thumb never collides with the fingers, it always bypasses them. And then we just move that out like that. You see I'm doing that arpeggio. My thumb's just going to the outside of that index finger. So that's the profile of my hand, and I'm going to find my fingernails that same profile. I put my 3 fingers along one of the flat edges of the rough sanding stick, and I'll go back and forward a little bit till I get a little flat tangent. It'll be at that angle on there and that angle there, and my fingers, it tends to be almost flat there and sloped a bit there and a bit there and a bit sloped there. And I use those as my tangents to file too. So having done that with the same rough stick, I will sand my fingernails, file my nails until they round to that flat edge, which of course disappears when I've finished the job. And a guitarist like David Russell, his are quite flat. Last time I saw them like that, and it's every player has them slightly different. So I've got them to roughly the size I want. And if you look, I'd say you know, David Russell's are quite short. Julia Tampolini is a huge talent. Either will work. But a millimetre or two beyond the fingertip, perhaps a bit longer on the thumb. And we pluck slightly diagonally on the string so that we don't get the string caught in that sort of little, that little V between the nail and the flesh, little valley there. We turn the finger round and we get a smooth transition from flesh to nail. So I've got them roughly shaped, and I can go to the 600 grade, the medium, and I'll smooth them. Take away any sort of swarf that's left over from the rough shaping as well. At which point I'll pick up my guitar and I'll play a few things. Just a couple of, I might do a little scale. Something really simple. I'll try it with index and middle, with middle and ring. And with index and ring. And I might do something like this. So what I'm feeling for is, are there any catches? Is any fingernail given a bit more resistance than the others? There's a little, you often get a little point left over that isn't quite right. And you can feel where that is, and at that point I'll pick up the 600 grade again, or possibly the 240 grade even, depending on how bad it is, and get rid of that little catch. So I get everything to the point where all of the fingernails, I've got an equal resistance when I'm playing. When I'm happy with that, I'll get my fine 2000 grade and polish them. Polish the edges. I might start off on the flat side and then move over to the curved side. So I'm getting a little bit of roundness from front to back of the nail as well as along the edge. And by the time I've done all this, I've got a nice smooth nail. I've got a good sound. They're sounding quite good today. Any little jagged edges, any little catches, apart from making things sound poor, they will leave somewhere to erode the nail and perhaps cause a split or something. So I will be smoothing and polishing my fingernails every day. And you see people just sitting fiddling on with a bit of emery paper when they're in between, when they're talking in between tunes at the gig and stuff. It's annoying to watch, but we care about our sound. Okay, I hope that helps. If you've got any questions, just post them on the Facebook page for the Eclectic Guitarist. And once again, Amlin Pincushion, if you like the idea, at 20 to 22 Queen Street. That was where Barclays used to be in Amble. Bye for now.